Hello, I'm Dale Adams, and I'm from Planning Ahead of Time, and I'm having a pat chat today with.
Hi, I'm Joanne Begley. I'm the creator and founder of For After I've Gone, a series of end-of-life journals for someone to leave their loved ones after they die.
So Joanne, you and I literally met about 20 minutes ago on this Zoom.
We did indeed.
Apart from that, our only connection has been online because we both work really in end-of-life services and trying to help others.
We do.
Yeah.
I am working at the moment. I'm a social care worker. I done my thesis in end of life, and I've created these books because I have massive interest in how we leave this world, and I just want to make a difference in life and how people leave the world.
Okay, so the books that you've created, they are actually all about planning ahead and thinking, if you like, ahead of time about what somebody might want, what they want to leave to their loved ones as a gift.
Yeah, so here in Ireland, Dale, we have the Irish Hospice Foundation have a document called the Think Ahead document. So in that, it's very kind of business-like, fantastic document, but it's very much towards who you want in the room at the time, what you want to wear, what music, what flowers, where you want to go after it. So I thought I'd like to create something more on an emotional side of things. So for somebody that has been diagnosed with a terminal illness, or somebody that is just prepared to die, getting their ducks in a row and stuff. You don't have to be a terminal point to do these books. I started creating just a book, an A5 hardback journal of just kind of, there's 4 editions. There's the parent edition, the sibling edition, the friend edition, and the partner edition, because not everyone is a parent. So I was mindful when I was creating them. And it's just about your relationship with the person that you leave the book to. So at the start of the book, you have to nominate somebody to hand the book out after you've gone. And it's broken into 2 sections, where the first section is all about your childhood, what your relationship with your parents is like, where you went to school. Can you remember your first concert, your first cinema? Can you remember your first boyfriend? Things like that, or girlfriend. And then it moves on to the second section of the book. There's a divider in it where it says, this is now about our relationship. Can you remember when I was born? This is the parents' book I'm talking about. And then it moves on to what was I like as a child. And then it moves kind of further into then, what are your advice for the future that you won't be a part of? Have you regrets? Have you a bucket list you'd like me to fill in? If I'm missing you, what can I listen to on Spotify? Where was your favorite restaurant to eat? If I'm having a bad day, what should I do to think of you? So it's kind of just creating that forever bond between the person that's left this world and either the child, the sibling, the friend, or the partner that they've left behind.
I love that. Your forever bond. I think
yeah.
That's lovely.
And it's important, I think, just because somebody dies, their stories doesn't go with them. So it's like you can pick that up and have a recipe that they left behind, or kind of tips for how they booked a holiday or something, things like that. I often think about that. God, if I go, how will my husband book concert tickets for the kids? And it's things like that you don't think about.
Well, you think about it though, didn't you?
Yes, in 2019 I was diagnosed with an incurable brain condition called Chiari malformation. It's like a herniation of the brain. So I've had 2 brain surgeries here in Ireland, and that was another kind of motivation to get this book done. So yeah, look, there's no cure for it. I get up every day, I breathe, and just keep going and hope for a cure. That's all I can do. And until then, I just hope that I make a difference and an impact on families' lives all around the world with these books, because I've seen firsthand. I work with a lot of families at end of life at the moment. I'm training to be a death doula as well, and I just see the kind of pressure that comes off somebody at end of life, knowing that, well, I have that in the book, or do you know what I mean, that my kids know how much I love them because it's in the book. Or
well, the thing is, as we both know, and actually everybody knows, 100% of us are going to die.
Yeah.
And often people wait until they've got a terminal diagnosis or a problem before they start really thinking about dying. And it's the one thing I say to a lot of people, then they're planning through pain.
Yeah.
Whereas my mom, she got Lewy body dementia. And so she was still living and yet lost the capability to speak and verbalize what she wanted.
Yeah.
And we really didn't have things in place, which is where planning ahead of time came from. Because I now look at it that I now know what I wish we had had in place so that I can help others do that, whether that's sort of from a financial element or documents, etc.
Yeah.
Of course, as you said with your book, it's looking at what you can leave and how you can help your loved ones through the grief. But sometimes grief is still happening when somebody is living.
Yeah.
So your book is for actually anybody, isn't it, really? And
yeah, it has a dual purpose in that it will help the person that is dying and also the person that is left behind. And you're right, going back there to what you're saying about conversations about knowing what people want. Do you know that we should be having these conversations? Like my kids and me and my husband talk about death openly. I keep saying to them, and I said it at my book launch and people laughed, talking about death today is not going to make you die tomorrow, just like talking about sex isn't going to make you pregnant. They're conversations that need to be had. And you know, like a woman has a birth plan. Do you know what I mean? It should just be as natural to have a death plan. It's like everybody should sign in to be an organ donator. Everybody should sign up to have end of life wishes, preferences. So it takes the pressure off families, because you can see families get very fractured at end of life. You know, things happen. And whereas if everything was put, as you said, down on paper in terms, then it takes away the stress from everybody.
Well, it does, because again, our sort of relatives, loved ones, family, etc., they all have different views. So if they don't know what our view is, they may then, if you like, in conflict over which one of them gets to make the final decision on what happens to us. And I also think what I've seen with my mum, it's sort of, what care would she have wanted? Again, there are things that we now still don't know and won't know in relation to my mum, her life, family members. I mean, I know you and I sort of said about it earlier in a different conversation about extended family. I've now found all of these photos. I have no idea who these people are. We're not going to know now. And you look back and think, I wish we'd have asked more, talked more, but it doesn't always happen that way. And we've got a close family. So you still don't ask some of the questions that you're going to be asking in the book. And people, again, they've got a choice if they complete it, if they answer or not. But it's definitely something helpful. I think you were mentioning that some of it came from you helped a friend with it.
Say that again, sorry, you broke up there.
You helped your friend, which again,
so came and I got diagnosed with Chiari malformation in 2019. I obviously work with people with challenging behaviour, so if I got a knock to the brain, I was in trouble. So I was off sick, and Carmel got diagnosed with motor neuron, and just kind of came up in conversation. Sure, I'll help you and I'll pass the time. And you know, she wanted to leave a letter for her kids. She found it incredibly difficult to write the letter because it's such a horrible condition, you know. So I just said, look, well, I'll get some books online, and I ordered a few kind of like a write and leave diaries and stuff to give right now, and they didn't really suit her. And there was other books like that were quite, I'm Dead, Now What was one of the books. And it was a little bit cold for her needs. So I'll just buy A5 diaries and we'll design our own questions. And we could put questions in that we wanted, leave out the ones she didn't want. So I designed them for her then. And after she passed, I handed them out. And I just thought, you know what, there's nothing like it out there in the market. So I developed it then. And that was kind of my ulterior for doing it. And when I worked with the man with locked-in syndrome when I was younger as well, he wanted to leave a letter for his child, and he passed suddenly, and it was just something that always kind of bothered me. God, I must get that done, I must do that. So I've just kind of been developing it for the last 2 years with different programs here in Ireland. They kind of teach you social problems and how you solve them, and meeting up with people in palliative care and hospices and stuff, and tweaking questions.
A lot of research.
Lots of research, because you want it to be right. You don't. It has to suit everybody. So I launched it in September, and it's going good. It's going good, but it's like that. It's just getting the conversation started, changing the narrative around it, and I keep saying to all my friends, I'm not the Grim Reaper. You need to be having these conversations. They're important.
Yeah, it is strange when we start talking about death and dying so openly. I do find that you can sort of see that not everybody's comfortable with the conversation.
No.
And I understand that, but equally, as you've said earlier about sort of having birth plans, etc.
Yeah.
We make choices about our life throughout our life.
Yeah.
We plan for anything from birthdays to anniversaries to weddings to, you know, christenings, whatever it is. So we always plan. We make choices. We then find the people that are going to help us. So we decide what venues we're going to have. We decide who's going to happen and what we need to make that happen. The one thing that we know is going to happen
is death.
We need more because, again, obviously it's understandable why people don't want to think about it. The alternative is that those who are left behind have to think about it and deal with it. And even with my mum, and we had a couple of years of my mum having dementia, we knew that it was degenerative. We knew that there was no coming back from this. We still didn't have the things we needed in place and ready. We kept putting off the lasting power of attorney for health. It was in finance, but we hadn't got it in place for health, which really was the one that we needed. But I think there's an element of denial.
Of course, yeah.
And again, like you, after
while she's alive,
Sorry, say that again.
And you're grieving while she's alive, still here, you know, because she's lost her faculties, And
like you, after a friend died of suicide, I went and did principles of end-of-life care. I looked into self-harm suicide. I did the first aiders course. I did end-of-life facilitation. So like you, I suddenly started to go, right, okay, I need to research. I need knowledge. I need to be able to help people. It's what I want to do. And yet with my mom, I still didn't get it in place. So, you know, we are in denial a lot of the time, but I do think planning ahead really does bring peace of mind to the person that's actually writing it, and also the people around them when the time comes, whether they are still alive and lose capacity or after they die.
If you think about it though, Dale, like we kind of we talk about milestones in our lives all the time, like getting married, graduating from college, having a child, but we don't talk about being prepared to die. So it's like a milestone we all avoid, but that it's inevitable for all of us. Do you know? And here in Ireland, like we're so good at the old funerals, and we're fantastic at the wake. And in Ireland, our funerals are quite quick compared to the UK. So within 4 days, it's over and done with. Do you know what I mean? That like if we can prepare well for having a good wake, we should prepare well for the lead up to somebody dying as well. And like that just doesn't have to be a terminal diagnosis for a year or two. It's a process of all the time.
I don't know how, actually, especially if it comes without warning, how anybody can be prepared and do the funeral and everything within such a short period of time. For my mum, it was a much longer period of time, and that in itself was still difficult to get everything we wanted, bearing in mind I was specific. Not my mum, because she hadn't got the capacity to say, but what I wanted for her was really quite specific. And it took quite a lot of planning. You have to do it in such a short period of time. There's a lot of pressure then, isn't there, on the family to get and get it right.
There is, because a lot of it is guesswork then if the conversation hasn't been had. So like going back to that think ahead document, I think everyone should fill one out. It just takes away not the guesswork, I suppose, of I wonder, is that what she wanted? God, maybe she didn't like that flower. Sure, we'll have to get it now because we can't ask her. So I think it's important to be just generating them conversations, and like it's there's a big kind of movement going on now at the moment for kind of wellness and mindfulness. Do you know what I mean? We need to be introducing some death talk into them. I don't know if you have them in the UK. We have death cafes here as well and stuff. So like that, when I told somebody I was going to a death cafe, they were horrified. They're like, why would you go and talk about that? That's too sad. And I said, it only has to be sad if you make it sad. Do you know what I mean? If you go and get your wishes out there and just change people's minds and their narratives around it, it will change.
No, I totally agree with you. We do have death cafes. I did actually go to one. It had a really sort of a low turnout, which seemed a shame because, again, everybody, those that were there were all very nice. It wasn't depressing, but it was just allowing a bit of conversation. And I think, again, when we look through life, we see what people do for their birthdays, for celebrations, and from that we determine what we would and wouldn't want. And when you start having conversations, it also allows you to get some of the knowledge and make your own decisions about what you would and wouldn't want. So when we go to funerals, you come away and think, oh, I would want that, or I wouldn't want that. It's the same when you have the conversations and you learn about what other people have gone through, and it does make you think, wow, I hadn't thought of that. I haven't got that in place, and I need to organise it.
I seen that with the night I did the book launch here in County Clare in Ireland. I was interviewed by a writer and we were just chatting about it, and then the amount of people that came up after and said, God, I never would have thought that I would have been leaving all this turmoil on my kids when I go. Do you know what I mean? And it's not just with the whole planning of a funeral, do you know, even just emotional stuff that, do you know, like there's so many different blended families now that, do you know, I can't keep stressing it enough that it's just important to fill it out and get it done and just change people's mindset. And that's kind of, I don't want to make a million from it, but I do want to make a difference. And that has been my mission from day one, is if I sell one of these books, if I sell 40 of these books, it's just, I've made a difference in one family's lives, and that's all that matters to me.
Which is a lovely motto to have. So how do people get hold of it then, Joanne?
So it's available on my website, www.forafterivegone.com. As I said before, there's 4 editions. So that would be the parent editions. And in it has like poetry from well-known poets, grief poets, Liz Newman in the States, Donna Ashworth in the UK, Stephen Jenkinson is good for loss and grief. He's in the USA as well. There's a few from Ireland in it as well. And there's artwork in it as well from local people. So that's the parents edition. That's the friend edition. That's kind of like 2 little feathers in the wind. That's the partner edition. And then that is the sibling edition. So they're filled with lovely questions, and they're available on the website, www.forafterivegone.com. And I'm also on social medias, Instagram, Facebook, and trying TikTok at the moment for After I've Gone.
Yeah, it's a lot of socials to be on these.
Oh my God, it's exhausting. I'm too old for this.
How much are your books?
My books are $29.99. And at the moment I had it on Black Friday sale, a bundle of 3 as well. So if you wanted to get one sibling, one parent, one friend, you can. Like a lady recently reached out to me. She's got terminal cancer and she's 3 kids. So she had bought 3 for her children and then 1 for her partner.
So is there a deal then? Is that what you're saying? If somebody
there's a bundle on the website there as well. So you can just add whatever ones you wanted and they'll be posted out there. And they're boxed up lovely as well.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely to speak with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely.
All right. And we will chat again soon.
See you later. Bye.